I'm John Batchelor. Gordon Chang of Forbes.com is here with me, and our friend, our colleague, Steve Herman, Voice of America in Thailand, joins us now to explain a story that swept completely by all of the breaking news we have here in New York, and I've followed Steve's reporting from Bangkok about the coup in Thailand. This is a vital part of the South Asia economies, one of the raging successes of these last 10 years, and yet now it's run into what looks to be a military coup, a threat to the economy and the people. Steve, a very good morning to you. I wondered why Voice of America moved you from North Asia to South Asia. Now I understand. You're their frontline reporter when it comes to trouble, and you've got trouble. Tonight we have news out of London. I ask you to confirm this, that the military has relaxed a nightly curfew. Imagine that, a curfew in a city and a country that depends entirely on tourism. So, is it accurate? Is the curfew lifted, and are the tourists returning? Good morning to you.
Good morning from Bangkok, John. The curfew has been relaxed. It has not been lifted. It was originally after the coup last Thursday from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Now the coup is in effect from midnight to 4 a.m. And in the tourist resort areas such as Phuket and Pattaya, it could be lifted entirely soon. But here in Bangkok, we do expect the curfew to remain in place for some time.
Steve, apart from tourism, Thailand has always attracted a lot of foreign investment. What are people saying about this? Because it would seem to me that this is going to be one of those critical factors about the coup.
Yes, Gordon. There's always a focus on the impact from tourism. That's about 7% of the GDP here. FDI, foreign direct investment, is much more significant. We are definitely seeing from the Asian countries, especially from the Japanese, that projects are being put on hold. The Honda factory is down to about 60% of capacity at this point, and we know that the effect on the economy is going to be significant the longer this goes on. And as John pointed out, Thailand has been touted as this great economic success story in Southeast Asia for many years, and now you're starting to see reports being written about whether Thailand's going to go the way that the Philippines did during the Marcos era and become sort of a sick man of Asia.
More than 40 countries, I'm following the news from London, have issued travel alerts. The U.S. has done that, so has Hong Kong, advising citizens to avoid non-essential travel to Thailand. That doesn't sound promising, Gordon, if you're looking to celebrate in Thailand. At the same time, this military coup, what are they presenting? What is the face of the coup? What is its ambitions? Do we know at this point, Steve?
Yes, we do, and that was a bit of a mystery before and during and a little bit after the coup. The face of the coup is the Army Chief, General Prayut Chan-o-cha. He is an ardent monarchist. He is a tough individual, very impatient from what we've seen of him so far. And I can tell you that I interviewed a colonel a couple of days ago who is a spokesman for the junta that is now governing Thailand. And we asked him point blank if the purpose of this coup was to eradicate the influence of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra from politics here. And he said that was the reason, and that is the first that we've had such a direct confirmation of that. And Thaksin Shinawatra, of course, is the billionaire telecommunications tycoon who was removed as prime minister in 2006 by a coup. And a constitutional court a couple of weeks before the coup removed his sister Yingluck, who is the last elected prime minister of Thailand from the 2011 election, and then both Yingluck and her successor as the caretaker prime minister were among those summoned and detained for a period of time by the coup leaders following the putsch.
Steve, what do these generals think they're going to do with regard to the economy? Because obviously they can detain former prime ministers, they can do a lot of things, but they must have a plan to get the economy going, because that would seem to be critical, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. There's all this talk about reform and economic reform and all these optimistic numbers coming out about how the economy is going to recover and prosper. They're also paying about $3 billion to rice farmers who were due payments in a bungled scheme that the elected government had gotten itself involved in. Now, the one thing to remember is that there is not going to be any mainstream media criticism of any of the economic plans or whatever else the junta is going to put forward, because the press here is under very strict censorship, and there are even soldiers sitting inside television stations to monitor newscasts and tell them what they can and cannot put on the air.
I'm puzzled, Steve, if we're seeing a new way of dealing with extreme changes of government. You strangle the media. That I report to you, Steve, I follow you very closely on Twitter, and I recommend everybody to follow Steve because his report out of Voice of America, as long as he's in Bangkok. But that's how I knew what was going on, Steve. I did not see much in the American media, in the newspapers here. I didn't even see much out of London. Now BBC is putting more video up. But it's almost as if a coup had to get in line with all the other troubles. I tried to cover Caracas. I do the best I can with the Wall Street Journal editorial writer, Mary Anastasia O'Grady, but there's very little for us to talk about because the media is strangled. We know that there's nothing to report out of Crimea. So I'm seeing a pattern here. Do you feel it in Bangkok that you're not being listened to, and that's part of the junta's ambition?
Well, obviously the junta would like as little publicity about this as possible. There's no doubt about that. And we are seeing some ominous developments that could make things even more difficult. There's talk about a new gateway, sort of like what the Chinese have, to more quickly censor content on the Internet. And then yesterday, just as we were doing a story about this, Facebook went down for about 90 minutes. And the authorities said no, they had not taken it down deliberately, that there was a glitch with the gateway. The speculation is that they were testing some massive new system or technique to take down these social media sites. Line and YouTube also quite popular here. And that this so-called gateway error was a result of some test. In fact, this caused such widespread concern because I think most people in Thailand who are online are on Facebook. It prompted such concern that there was a 30-second nationally broadcast statement by a coup spokesman to assure the country that Facebook going down was just a technical problem and it had now been fixed, and that they had not ordered Facebook to be taken down.
Do you feel watched, Steve, in your reporting for VOA?
I don't think there's any doubt that the content put out by foreign correspondents is monitored here. It's not the sort of repressive type of observation that we've seen past and present in places like China and Burma. The most serious concern that correspondents have also had here for many, many years are the lèse-majesté charges that for any perceived criticism of the monarchy that one faces arrest and imprisonment. The difference now is that there's a whole array of things that reporters are not supposed to be talking about, including criticism of the junta. And instead of these things going to the police and civil courts, they now go directly
Steve Herman, Voice of America in Bangkok. Gordon Chang, I'm John Batchelor.